And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Well, we're back with Guerilla Roundup for day 3 of the final test between New Zealand and England in Hamilton in New Zealand. And our man at Seddon Park is Hector Vickers. Welcome, Hector.
Evening, Messi. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. It's been a long day. So started off with a whole session written off to rain, but we still ended up with 76 or so overs today. I'll just give the scores. So New Zealand, who started the day at, where were we? Sorry about this, 136 for 3, ended up all out for 453. And England at the close, chasing a massive total, 18 for 2, needing another 640 runs, which sounds fairly daunting. So how did it go today? You take us through it from the start, Hector.
Yeah, it was a long day, as you say. The first session rained off. I think early lunch was taken around 12:30, and then got back underway at 11:30. So we had 2 extended sessions, about 3 hours each. I think maybe 2.5 in the afternoon session. But yeah, New Zealand just started as they were last night. Williamson and Ravinger combined really nicely. Ravinger was getting a lot of stick actually from the English players, which I found a little bit weird considering the situation of the match. But he made a really nice 44. I think at one point he was on about 3 off 51. And he ended up finishing on 44 off 90. So he kicked on. Matty Potts eventually got his wicket. Bryden Cast took a nice catch at mid-off. And Williamson just kept on going. He looked pretty unstoppable, to be honest. Daryl Mitchell helped him out there. I mean, I completely forgot, but he got 60 off just 84 balls. That sort of shows the day it was. He sort of raced there, a couple sixes and 7 fours. But yeah, Williamson was the star of the show. For New Zealand, he got 156 off 204. But it sort of felt as if he batted well, but it wasn't a masterful innings in any way.
Yeah.
The English bowlers were just well off colour.
Yes.
Ollie Pope ended up using 8 bowlers, and Harry Brook took the new ball, which just kind of shows it. It was pretty embarrassing, to be honest. It sort of looked as if it was a bit of a joke out there, considering the bowlers they used. Joe Root bowled 1 over, got 17 and took 1 wicket, which I think pretty much summarises that whole innings.
Yeah. There was a sense of England just wanted to get out of there and be gone. New Zealand were just concentrating on getting as many runs as possible, knowing that there were a full 2 days to go, and there was no need to declare, despite some people thinking they should do a Ben Stokes and declare before stumps and give themselves a longer chance at them. Was there a feeling around the ground about that, or in the press box?
A feeling around what
about the possibility of a declaration? Yeah,
there was a possibility, and I think they were eyeing it up. Kane Williamson said that they were thinking about it, but in the end they got skittled. Tim Southey was always going to get an opportunity to bat to reach the 100 sixes. He ended up not doing that. He swung freely, but only got 2 off 5 and was caught by Crawley off Bethel, who ended up with 3 on his test debut bowling wise. But yeah,
the term junk wickets jumps to mind, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, that's true. But no, I think New Zealand, there are still 2 days left in this test, and with the lead they had, you just can never be too sure with this English side, and I think they were quite happy to get a lead of 600 plus and let Williamson continue, and then Southey have his fun at the end. And the way Santner was batting, they could have easily got a 700 run lead before they declared.
Now, Ben Stokes bowled a lot in this match. He ended up, I think, bowling 36.2 overs. Tell us what happened with him.
Yeah, so he pulled his hamstring. He tore it in August playing for the Northern Superchargers in the 100 in August, which obviously that sidelined him for 4 Test matches. The last Test of West Indies, and then the 3 against Sri Lanka. So it sort of seemed that this series was his big comeback into bowling, and it gave England a really nice new balance, and it was really promising for the Ashes that Stokes could bowl the amount he did. He bowled 66 overs, the best part of 66 overs throughout the series. He only took 7 wickets, but he did his role really well as the enforcer. But yeah, 2 balls in to his 3rd over of his spell today, his first spell of the day. He put a short ball into Ravindra. Ravindra hit him for 4, but by the time the ball had reached the boundary, he just walked straight down the wicket and right back to the change rooms. He didn't say a word to the players or to the coaching staff as he left. He was just hobbling off, holding on to his left hamstring, which has caused him a lot of issues in the past. And yeah, he's off for a scan now. We saw him hop into a car, and Trescothick confirmed that he's going to go have a scan tonight.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's the most overs he's bowled in a Test match since June of 2022 against New Zealand at Trent Bridge. It just seems to me, I know it's in Stokes' nature, but the possibility of not overdoing things doesn't occur to him. And I suppose if you're going to do it, doing it at a time when he's coming into a fallow period cricket-wise is probably a good thing. But I don't know. There's something very Stokesian about all of that, isn't there?
Well, as you say, I think it's his nature. He always wants to bowl England well under the pump, and he genuinely has the belief that he can change the game, as he's done so much in the past, mainly with the bat, but he's also done it with the ball. I think it was West Indies, the away tour in 2021, 2022, that he bowled really well there. So he was always going to bowl, and he wasn't pushing himself. He pushed himself last night where he bowled three spells of 8 overs. But this was only his 3rd over of his spell. So no, I don't think. I think it is in his nature to push himself, but I don't think that it was that push that got him today. I think he was just really unlucky. He had only bowled 2 and a bit overs throughout the day, so I think he just got unlucky there.
Any indication as to whether he's likely to bat?
No indication, but I would be very surprised if he does bat. I mean,
Yeah.
the game's gone. It would be very Stokes to bat, but I think even he can see sense in it. He looked really uncomfortable as he was walking to the car. He was still holding on to his left hamstring. He had a bit of tape around it and was hobbling away with Matthew Potts as well. He looked a bit uncomfortable at the end of the innings, but no, I don't think Stokes will bat.
Now, the person who did bowl a lot today was Shoaib Bashir, bowled 36 overs, took 2 for 170. What was the feeling about his bowling in general?
Oh, it's just peculiar. He bowled 36 overs on the trot, and nothing looked threatening at all. He took 2 wickets, but I mean they're pretty similar to the wickets he's taken this series. He just looked, the amount of drag downs and stuff like that. I genuinely think that some people in the crowd could have bowled half the deliveries that he did today. It just didn't look threatening. But then again, the English seamers just looked completely out of it. So he did have to bowl. But yeah, I think he's very close to slipping away from this England side, despite the sort of loyalty he's been shown. I just think he's had his time to prove himself, and he's had a lot of time to learn. He hasn't made any progress from when he debuted.
Yeah, I think that was the Bears' assessment too today, that he really hasn't made a lot of progress, which is a worry for England in terms of finding another full-time spinner for them if Leach isn't going to be the one. Okay, so at the end of the day, New Zealand were all out for 453. England had 6 overs to face. How did that go?
Well, it didn't go well. It did not go well at all. Crawley surprisingly took the first ball to Matt Henry. He's 5 for 5 at that point in time, so we were a little bit surprised to see him face up. Had an LBW decision in the very first over. I think it was the last ball of the first over, which was given out by Holstock, the umpire. Overturned it. It went on to be missing down leg, but then hit a fall down the ground off Henry and proceeded to full LBW again for a couple overs after that. So yeah, he went for 5. Henry's got him 6 and 6. And I think the stat is that out of any English batsman to have had 6 innings in the top 4 in a series, he has the lowest average of all time
Yeah.
from this series, which is pretty damning. But Ben Duckett was probably the more embarrassing wicket. He fell in the second over to Southey, who, we've established he isn't particularly threatening. Duckett looked as if he wanted to hit the stumps and get some rest, because he just walked down the track, feeble inside edge, and played on. So yeah, he went for 4, which was disappointing to see. It looked as if he had given up before he walked onto the pitch.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, 18 for 2 is not a great place to be starting tomorrow from. What's the feeling about Zach Crawley? I mean, England have shown him massive loyalty over the last couple of years, and in some cases it has been repaid, but it just seems like the elastic band is getting stretched so thin now. Is there a way back into this team for him come summer?
Yes, there is, because England just love Zach Crawley. They've been very open about saying that, which I think most people find very strange. They openly say we don't pick Zach for consistency. We pick him for his match-winning performances, which are pretty few at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy to sort of jump on the Ashes question bandwagon, but if you look at it, we've now got a lot of problems from this test. You've got Bashir, as we've spoken about, Zach Crawley opening up, he's struggling, and then you've got that debate between Bethel, Pope, and then Stokes' fitness. So there's a lot to think about. But in terms of Crawley, I think he will play coming into the summer. Just Gothic was saying in the post-day press conference that they just love him, and he trains harder than anyone, and he's bound to get a score soon, which is actually what Collingwood said last night as well, and that didn't go too well. But no,
Yeah.
I think he's going to play.
How long can you keep saying that? I mean, I was saying to somebody else today, you don't go to press conferences to get information. You get them to hear the angle that's being taken to defend players. I get that entirely. They have to be loyal to their players. But it's an interesting situation. So we head into tomorrow, just starting half an hour early. So there'll be 2.5 hours before lunch. Is that enough for the game to be over, do you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think the way that Duckett in particular played last night, it looked as if another half an hour and we could have been 6 or 7 down. It really depends on the way Root and Bethel want to play, because out of the batsmen there, they seem to be, I don't want to say more serious, because all of the team is serious, but they seem the most sort of determined to stick around, and not just because they're in at the end of the day. Root hasn't even faced a ball, but I think a lot will go in the first half an hour with Bethel and Root, and that will probably determine the way England play. But yeah, most likely it'll be done before lunch.
Oh well, it's a big turnaround from the first 2 matches, but it's an interesting thing, and I sort of feel glad for New Zealand that they've salvaged something after doing such an extraordinary job in India. So it's a sort of relief that they're not as bad as they looked in the first 2 games anyway. So is there anything else coming from the press conferences that is of any import?
Well, Gothic was pretty much all I've said. Stokes' fitness and Crawley, that those were the only 2 topic of conversation for him. Williamson, again, follow on was on their minds, but they wanted Tim to have a go. And I also asked about batting with Ravindra, and then the stick that Ravindra was getting out in the middle, and yeah, Williamson said he's a young guy, so it's good for him to learn. But yeah, there's a peculiar chat going out yesterday evening and this morning. But other than that, not much.
Seems a little weird for a team that is, 400 runs behind to be trying to stir up for a batsman who's not going to make a lot of difference to what their target is either way.
No, yeah, I think it started yesterday evening when Ravindra sent in. He may not have sent in, who knows? But when Will O'Rourke went in ahead of Ravindra with 21 minutes left on the clock, I think that's where it came from. But right. Yeah, pretty peculiar messaging from England.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Hector. We'll have it's in all probability going to be your final report tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we look forward to you getting a well-earned rest after that. So thanks very
Yeah.
much for that.
Thanks, Messi. Speak tomorrow.
And now it's time for Guerilla.